Captain's Log, Episode 11, Belgian Blonde Ambition. This week's episode of the Beer Avengers podcast is sponsored by Astoria Beer and Cheese Ditmars, located at 3511 Ditmars Boulevard in Astoria, Queens. Now featuring, for a limited time, the full range of the 2020 Goose Island Bourbon County brand stouts. Enjoy their eclectic array of craft beer, artisanal cheeses, and specialty grocery items. Astoria Beer and Cheese Ditmars. Home bar to yours truly, Captain Porter Brown Stout. Coming up on today's show, meet another guest beer avenger, Belgian Blonde, enjoy our epic 7-pour show, and learn all about, among other things, the need for a bird-friendly coffee stout. Also, the first edition of Curtain Up Beer to benefit the Actors Fund and other arts organizations is now available at Gun Hill Brewing and in select locations all over New York City. If your home location has not been selected, please pester them mercilessly until that changes. It's for a very good cause. While discussing the Curtain Up project on the episode you're about to hear, I spoke of Gun Hill's Hamilton-themed beer, which I identified as Spirit of 76. While Gun Hill made a memorable lager called Spirit 76, their Hamilton-themed beer was Rise Up Rye. I'm not sure how that error made it into my room where it happens, but it happened nonetheless. I regret the error and have a feeling a sizable delivery from Gun Hill is in my future. And now, without further ado, please enjoy episode 11, Belgian Blonde Ambition.
Well, with a beer Avengers, beer Avengers, beer Avengers.
We're the Beer Avengers.
Welcome to the Beercast, everyone. Coming to you from an undisclosed location in Astoria, Queens, I am Captain Porter Brown Stout.
And I am coming to you from an undisclosed location on Central Park West and 90. I've said too much. I am Hophead Huck, a.k.a. Pale Male.
And coming to you from an undisclosed acronym in the borough of Kings, it is I, the Beer Wonder.
And coming to you from an undisclosed location in Riverdale, it is I, the Belgian Blonde.
Hello.
Whoa.
And we are
The
Beer
Avengers.
That's right. We're the Beer Avengers, everyone. So wonderful to have you all here on the Beercast. And I'm sure you've noticed, because you're all very good at paying attention, we have another wonderful guest Beer Avenger with us tonight. Please welcome the Belgian Blonde.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
We've got another exciting show for you, everyone. A bunch of exciting new pours. You'll get to learn all about the Belgian Blonde and maybe a few other exciting things. I also want to thank our sponsor, Astoria Beer and Cheese Ditmars. We do not have a sponsored pour today, but they've got a lot of great things going on. I was just there earlier today, and they have a wonderful new cheese with Wensleydale and cranberries for the holiday season.
That sounds delicious.
Wensleydale always makes me think of Wallace and Gromit,
Yes,
which reminds me I need to watch that documentary about Aardman animation on Netflix. Heard it's good.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
I'm going to watch that too.
That does sound fun.
But we can talk more about that later.
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, no, we can't talk about it. We should, but none of us is. We're all holding empty glasses
I
right
know.
now.
So
I think we need to remedy that right away. So, everyone, let's get to the pours.
Oh, thank goodness.
But Beer Wonder,
Yes.
I'm not sure. Who do you think should go first?
Well, I put a lot of thought into this one, Captain, and I just feel like it would be rude if we did not invite the Belgian Blonde to go first.
Yeah, we would have the worst etiquette in the world. If
I know.
Thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely. Belgian Blonde, what do you have there?
Thank you very much. To open it here. This is actually a beer I've never tried before. This is Lexington Brewing from Kentucky. It's a coffee barrel stout.
Ooh.
Coffee stout that was brewed in bourbon barrels.
Oh.
Nice.
I like bourbon, so I think I'm going to like it.
This is the Captain's thing. Now bring it up a little bit higher because I want to see that pour.
I like bourbon, I like coffee, I like stout, so it's all perfect.
Okay, now
Oh, that is a beautiful pour.
That is just perfect. It also has almost no head on it, which I'm noticing, and so dark. It's just the tiniest little foam at the top. Oh my goodness.
That indicates to me it's probably pretty boozy. Does it say what the ABV is on that Belgian Blonde?
Yes, I believe this one is 8%.
Oh, very nice.
Ooh, bless it. All right. Hophead Huck, do you want to take us to our next one?
Okay.
Why
Well, you know
not?
what? I've been meaning to have this beer. This is the double dry hopped Fort Point Pale Ale
Mm.
from Trillium Brewing in Boston.
Oh,
Now, I
yummy.
think I've had it before, but I don't think I've had it a full can on my own. I've had it like sharing it with people. I'm going to give it a little roll first to get the,
Okay.
I don't want any of the sediment in there.
Yep, very important. This is technique. This is good technique.
I should have shown the roll, but let's crack her open. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
see,
good.
that's a good crack there. This is going to be a fun beer.
Now this should be a nice hazy pale ale.
Oh, and when you say hazy, you're not like that is basically
Oh,
orange
yeah.
juice
Wow.
right there. That is what I expect from Trillium, like that amount of haze, a decent amount of head on the top of it. It's this beautiful, like orangey straw color to it. I mean, that I would drink that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
It smells great. Yeah, this is their flagship. So hopefully this is going to be killer.
Looks
Well, I
fun.
think it's only polite that Beer Wonder should go next.
Well, thank you very much. Well, I'm supporting a brewery that I love. That's within walking distance of my super undisclosed location tonight. This is from my friends at Circa Brewing Company. I've got the Blue Baloo Berliner,
Aha.
which is a fun one, and I'm excited to hear your reactions. There we go. As I pour this bad boy. So here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Let me just adjust that.
It's another unique one, huh?
Yep.
Wow.
Now that what exactly? I'm not
Yeah, I'm
sure if I'm
getting it.
seeing the color it is here on.
Getting a nice
Yeah.
cranberry color there.
That's
Yeah,
exactly what
raspberry.
you're looking for. Yep, should be sort of a bluish purplish color because it's got a lovely blueberry finish to it. So definitely not on our SRM chart, but a nice fruited beer. Also a decent amount of head on it, good carbonation, and it's got that Berliner Weiss sweet and funk. I cannot wait to dive into this one.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Looks like a good one.
Hmm.
Well, we were. It's funny. The earlier this week, this is episode 11, so I just happened to be listening to our first episode ever. We were so young back then.
Oh,
And what I thought was one of the funny things about that one is that Beer Wonder announced that we never tell each other what our pours are going to be. That's actually he thought it was true when he said it, but
I did.
We don't tell each other everything, but sometimes we have to just to make sure we don't have the same ones, especially when we're all drinking the same style.
Mhm.
right.
And so therefore I did know that Belgian Blonde was bringing a coffee stout tonight. And so I was thinking about how I don't have any coffee stouts. And just a couple hours before recording, I found myself at Astoria Beer and Cheese, and I noticed that they had a coffee stout on draft.
Oh,
my.
hello. Okay.
That's
So-
exciting.
This is very
Nice.
exciting because this is the Long Island City Beer Project, LIC.
Oh,
Yeah.
love them.
And this is their, let me make sure I have the name right. This is their, wait a minute, I thought I had this. Oh, here it is. It's the Daily Grind Coffee Stout.
Oh,
It's sort of the other end of what Belgian Blonde has. It is it's a 5%er. It's a light let me show, here's the wonderful growler I got from them.
Oh, wow. Beautiful.
Nice.
This is that's not actually the color of it. That's the color of the growler.
Right, exactly. But also, it's just a lovely
It is
way
a
to
beautiful
think,
growler.
and a lovely way to thank our sponsor at Surrey Beer and Cheese.
It certainly is. And what's exciting about this one is the other thing I noticed listening to that first episode was my very first pour on this show was from LIC Beer Project.
that's right.
Oh yeah.
So sort of we're bringing that full circle.
Mhm.
And in addition, this is a first on the Beer Ventures podcast.
Ooh.
This is the first time I think any of us has ever brought a draft beer.
True. I was going to say I've done a crowler, but not a draft beer. Yeah, that's for
So
sure.
I don't think the sound is going to pick this up, but I'm unscrewed. Oh, you can hear it a little bit. Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
the crowler counts, but
No, well,
All right.
but oh, here we go, and here's the pour coming out. Oh, look at that! Now, with a coffee stout, you want it to be just like pitch dark, and this one is doing exactly what we need. Tiniest little carbonation on the top, little micro bubbles up there. You cannot see through this. Oh, I want to dive into it.
Yeah, that
All
looks
right. Well,
very,
cheers,
very good.
everyone.
I love a good coffee porter or coffee stout.
Yeah.
Cheers, indeed.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Now, what I found kind of interesting about this, because LIC is notoriously, I didn't realize so notoriously is wrong, notorious to me, notoriously bad about, some breweries on their websites, they'll keep the archives of every beer they've ever had. LIC is not that way. So I struggled to find a long, like a serious description of this beer. So I don't even know where the coffee beans come from, but I just know there are tons of them.
Yeah, they're not great at doing the gram either. They're not real great Instagrammers.
What's funny about this one is because I tried to, Google it and see if there was something on their website, see if there was something where someone was expounding about it, and all I could find was basically a 3-sentence description of it, saying that it was an easy drinking, medium-bodied stout, and that it had tons of coffee beans, and that it also, what is it? Also that it tastes a little like a cold brew coffee.
No, nice.
Which I haven't
Is that accurate?
I think so, but I haven't really had cold brew coffee, so I'm not the best person to guess on it. But if it does, I would probably enjoy cold brew coffee.
Well, I of course looked up where my coffee beans came from for this beer, and they're from Haiti.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. They don't. I don't think that they've canned this. So this is in the age of lack of going to bars. This is a rarity. You can get a nice draft beer on the podcast. One that hasn't been put in a can yet, so that's really nice.
Delightful.
How does it taste? You dig it?
Yeah,
it's very good. Yeah, it's. I mean, it is. It's light bodied. I spoke on one of our earlier podcasts about a few bike trips I took to some of our local breweries because much like yours, Beer Wonder, this one is. I could walk there, but I biked there.
Sure.
And when I started having few, tentative trips out, mostly solitary. Sitting at a table by myself outside drinking some beers. And I took a trip out to Long Island City Beer Project. In fact, that's the one, Lunacy, which was my first beer I had on here, was from that trip. But while I was there, they had this one on draft. So I have had this before.
Oh, you tasted it? Yeah.
It's very tasty. Yeah.
Good. And how's that Kentucky bourbon coffee stout hanging in?
It's delicious. I feel like it's the perfect winter beer. It's a caramel vanilla hint to it, but I can also taste just the slightest bit of bourbon, which I love.
A little boozy.
Yeah, I mean, this time of year we're making bourbon balls and all those cookies with the bourbon in them and things like that. So I think it would pair really nicely with something like that.
Yeah, I haven't heard about. I guess I've heard a little bit about this, but I mean, I would imagine bourbon barrels are really at a premium because there's so much bourbon barrel aging going on with stouts and porters, and it's just. Is there enough bourbon in the world to keep up with our bourbon stouts?
Well, I imagine during COVID, people are going through quite a bit of bourbon anyway. So
True.
Maybe there are more barrels.
Yes, drinking has definitely gone up.
Whether it's whatever kind of spirits, there's a lot of spirited activity going on.
Yeah, I guess I underestimate people's bourbon drinking proclivities. I'm so innocent.
Now, I'm curious, Belgian Blonde, were you able to find that one locally, or was that from a trip somewhere?
So I actually got this at a BevMax in Stamford, Connecticut. I was out there this past weekend visiting a close friend, and they have a huge craft beer selection. So
great.
Not city locally, but pretty close, and it was in their craft beer section.
Yeah, because I understand that brewery has a lot of really good beers. I don't see a lot of them in New York. There was one that was called, first time I saw it, it was like the Bourbon Barrel Ale, which some places have had on draft, and it just it was fine, but I just had this like I bet this brewery has better things. This is the only thing that can make it up here.
Yeah, I've seen that as well, but I don't see it too often, and I don't have a lot of familiarity with that brewery particularly.
Yeah, I should have asked them more about it because I'd never even heard of that brewery before. But yeah, it's delicious. So I'll definitely be buying it again.
Now, I'm curious to hear a little more about that beer from Trillium.
Yes,
yeah.
please.
Well, I tell you, it is beautiful in the glass. Really, really nice, and it's really super smooth. and creamy, and then has a nice old-fashioned bitter finish on it. I wouldn't go as far as to say it's like West Coast, but it's definitely New England style. I mean, this is kind of the
Oh
the,
yeah.
Yeah.
the flagship look of a New England style beer, and it's from Boston. But the finish has a nice bitterness to it. I like that. I like that. It's really unadorned, really pure New England IPA, although it's New England Pale Ale, excuse me. Yeah, it's really sweet, really very good.
Excellent.
Real tropical notes on the tongue. I'm not sure which hops they use for this. I should have looked at that before I started, but they have a definite tropical feel to them, and then it has that nice bitter finish. So it's kind of a perfect pale ale, really,
Cool.
by our modern
And
standards.
And Beer Wonder, tell me again. I know you said that what Brooklyn brewery is that from?
This is from Circa Brewing Company, which doesn't do a ton of distribution. You don't really find them in many stores. I am friendly. Yeah, I'm friendly with their. So they were sort of like a restaurant brewery combo, and they just make really great beers. I'm friendly with their head brewer Drew, and Blue Baloo Berliner is named for his dog. Baloo, so I kind of thought it was adorable. Also, I think Drew makes really fun Berliners and sort of sour beers. He's also a very creative sort of like I will try almost anything brewer.
Yeah.
Like he does really cool things. I remember, and he's also kind of a nerd. He left his job as a lawyer to become a brewer. And so he's been obsessed with outer space stuff for years. And so one of my favorite beers he ever did at Circa was called Buzz's Buzzed IPA. And it was an IPA that was made with Tang to celebrate the anniversary of the moon landing. So like,
Oh, that's great.
It was real. I know Belgian Blonde. I saw that face, but it was actually really good. It was a really good beer. I was surprised at how excellent it was. He also then I guess like had to track down like industrial Tang. I mean, who knows? But anyway, I love Circa. They also make ridiculously good pizza as well, and their beer is really nice. And so I was going for a walk in my neighborhood, and it had been a while since I swung by, and I saw that they've been doing a lot more canning recently. And I wanted to point out one thing that I learned from Circa. Early on, we talked about the SRM, or the Standard Reference Method coloration on our beer. They are actually one of the few breweries that puts it on their can. So maybe we can maybe throw this up on the blog, but they have a little.
Yeah, sure. Let me.
They have
that.
Yep. They, in addition to all the other stats, like they've got they've got the IBUs, the ABV, of course, and the gravity on here. They also put a little SRM chart on there, and I always think it's risky when you say, oh, my beer's a 3, especially when your beer has blueberries in it. It actually turns out kind of looking looking purple.
It's always funny when I edit these things. I realize how little I actually listen, and so you mentioned before they were blueberries.
Yes, they're blueberries.
I was so fascinated with the color, and I'm thinking, well, why is the word blue? Because it's blueberries.
It's blueberries. Well, and I should also clarify that SRM is technically the color of the wort, not the color of the finished beer. So he is not wrong to say that it could be a 3. But I always joke, like I'm like, oh, your batches might be different. But anyway, Drew's a great guy. I love Circa. They're a small business. They're really kind of one location in downtown, my borough of Kings location. So go check them out, get some pizza, have a beer, and they're making really cool, fun, interesting stuff.
Nice. Now you mentioned the wort. What is a wort?
What is a wort? That's what a good question, Hophead Huck, aka Pale Male. So wort is basically the sugary water that is flavored that we eventually turn into beer. So once you have extracted, you've put hot water in with your grain, and you've extracted the sugar out of the grain, and then we start to mix it with other flavoring agents like our hops or maybe coffee. Who knows what you're putting in at this point, right? That is wort. It's like sugary flavored sugar water that has not yet met yeast friends. And then the yeast friends show up and they make it fizzy and alcoholic, and then we all get to drink some.
I gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I wonder if anybody's tried to make that a beverage to drink, like the wort.
Just full on wort.
Just wort. Like instead of a non-alcoholic beer, it's like, no, we're just going to give you the wort.
That sounds gross.
Yes, it does. Sounds terrible.
I mean, here's the thing. Out there in the listening world, if you've heard of this, please let us know. Because
Oh, yes, absolutely. We want to hear about it.
I tell you what, as the craft beer revolution continues, someone's going to try that.
Mhm.
They're going to be like, pure wort,
Well,
no
speaking-
alcohol.
It is interesting because I feel like we are seeing more non-alcoholic beers starting to
Yep.
show up, which is really interesting.
That's
And
true.
people who are doing a really good job of making actually interesting tasting non-alcoholic beers. Even our buddies at Brooklyn Breweries have a non-alcoholic beer that I had an opportunity to taste this week, and it actually tastes pretty good. I was impressed.
Yeah.
I remember the special effect. It actually tastes pretty good. I was really impressed by it. Because I think my memories of early non-alcoholic beers were not always that impressive.
Oh,
That
yeah.
makes sense.
No, terrible. Terrible.
I don't know that I've ever had one.
Oh, well, you saved yourself from
It-
something, Captain.
It used to be just like O'Doul's, and that was it, right? That was your choice at the restaurant.
That is absolutely right. Yeah.
There was another one, O'Doul's, and there was I know Beck's used to make one. It was just Beck's non-alcoholic, and yeah, they were like, "Oh, why am I drinking this?"
I've not had non-alcoholic beer, and I don't drink decaf coffee.
Full
my
strength,
feeling
Captain.
is-
Full strength.
Well, it's nothing against it. My feeling is always that if I had it, it'd rather than enjoy it, I'd just be wishing I had the real thing.
Yeah. Well,
That's
I
fair.
recently moved to decaf, as you know.
Mm.
Did I mention that before? Yeah.
I did you?
Yeah, decaf
Like I
stand.
said, I don't always listen, so
That's
I'm not
my-
sure.
Decaf
one of
Stan,
my-
it's his
my
next
beer name.
name.
Decaf
Oh,
stand.
no,
with
that's
South
right.
African
Okay, I
man.
didn't realize that was why you named
Yeah,
yourself that.
not only it was a reference to a play we used to do, but I've moved to decaf, and it has really changed my life. And I won't get into the details.
And Birds and Beans has a decaf, right?
Do they? Because I
Wait.
get it. Yeah.
I mean, speaking of coffee, it does sound like it's a great time to hear about someone who has a delicious coffee beer and also maybe a passion for coffee.
Well,
I
yes,
do.
and I guess I was going to ask her something specific, but that will probably come out in her story.
Yeah.
Some kind of a story. What
What kind?
Or we
Kind of
could
story?
talk about the coffee before, or are we going to go for it? Is this happening? This is happening.
I think it's happening.
Huck, I think we need your help
I think
here.
Rwanda is thinking that maybe our guest is thinking, are they ever going to get to me?
No. I'm always
Wait a
happy to
minute.
talk about coffee, but it was a great segue. I think they do have a decaf coffee.
All right. So therefore, I think it's time for another.
Origin story.
That's right. It's time for our guest, Belgian Blonde, to tell her origin story, how she came to be the beer venture that she is today.
Absolutely. Well, my origin of drinking beer, the coffee part came later, but I didn't drink a ton of beer. The reason I'm Belgian Blonde is because I'm part Belgian, very much raised in the European culture. So it was okay to have, 12 years old, like, oh, I'll have some wine with dinner. And, my grandfather loved Stella and all those Belgian beers, things like that. But I don't think I ever appreciated beer until I went and did my undergrad in Colorado in the early 2000s.
Some wonderful
All of a
breweries.
sudden, you have New Belgium, which wasn't even heard of on the East Coast at that point.
Mhm.
And I'm going to parties and there's kegs of Fat Tire and I'm trying Sunshine Wheat and all these different beers. And it just completely opened my eyes. I'm like, this stuff is really, really good. And I was a biology major. So my professors in college, at one point, I remember they're like, let's open a brewery. And which kind of was like, really? These nerdy science professors are going to open a brewery? What? But they were all chemists. And so it made complete total sense for them to be the ones that opened the brewery. So that's kind of became our hub. And so not only were we getting these amazing beers from around the States, we were also, hanging out at this brewery where our professors were making our own beer. And it was great. I loved it.
You do need scientists to brew beer for sure.
Yeah, it really.
Yeah.
I mean, you're herding yeast. Like it's basically livestock, except they're tiny. So, which it seems like the biology part would fit in with that Belgian Blonde because it is tiny little organisms that make this magic stuff.
Oh, absolutely. And so you had them, we would be doing these really specific experiments in the lab at school, and then they'd have this giant playground to brew beer with, and you could just tell they were having so much fun with it.
It's always nice when your extracurricular activity is always also work related.
Oh yes, I was just trying the beer for experimental purposes.
Absolutely.
Science. Hashtag science.
Science.
I also think it's funny that
Absolutely.
New Belgium keeps coming up as a way that people are getting introduced to craft beer because it really seems to be a driver in the way that people are moving away from this sort of mass-produced stuff into discovering something a little bit more interesting and a little bit more exciting, which is really cool.
Yeah, and when you're first starting to taste beer too, I mean, especially Sunshine Wheat, that was my favorite beer in college because I could tell there was something really special about it and more to it, but it wasn't like trying a double IPA after never drinking beer before,
Right.
It was a great way for me to really start appreciating beer, I think.
Is that a New Belgium beer, the Sunshine Wheat?
It is, yeah.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
think they sell it around here either, but we drank it a lot in college.
Oh,
What were
okay.
some of your other favorite breweries there that we may or may not have heard of?
I'm not sure. There's a lot of small mountain towns with private breweries.
Yeah.
It's now been almost 20 years since I lived
Yeah.
there. So
some of them might not even be around anymore.
some of them might not be around.
I think it's amazing though that there was that much activity. They were way ahead of the curve if it was happening 20 years ago, because we've talked on other podcasts about how a lot of us didn't really make a serious craft beer journey until starting about maybe 10 years ago at the most.
Yeah, and I think that Colorado and California were really at the forefront of craft beer for sure.
Yeah, I think back then, when I would come home, I would go look for New Belgium Brewing, and it wasn't here. So I think they were kind of a small beer, and maybe that's why they're the one that's still around, is because they've grown so much.
Are they still independent, or are they a subsidiary of anyone else?
That I'm not sure.
I think they are still independent.
They are. I'll admit I said that more for Huck because he keeps score on that a lot.
I
more
do.
Than any of the rest.
Really do. They're still independent. So is Yingling. So is Yingling.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't drink Yingling anymore. But anyway.
As far as the coffee, that came
yes.
when I was doing my graduate, and the reason I brought a coffee stout tonight was when I was doing my graduate degree, I studied something called bird-friendly coffee, which I've always focused on conservation biology and the conservation of birds in particular. And you can actually buy coffee that's certified as bird-friendly, which means that they don't cut down the rainforest to grow the coffee. A lot of people have heard of shade-grown coffee, which is kind of the umbrella that over bird-friendly coffee, but there was no strict criteria. And so the Smithsonian now sends scientists down and says if there's enough levels of rainforest, then that's the certifiable bird-friendly coffee farm. So if you really want to be sustainable, bird-friendly coffee is the way to go. And so hopefully they'll start using it for stouts like this because it's delicious.
Oh, that's great. That's something that I have not seen in beer is bird-friendly coffee stout. That's a great idea.
Right? Especially so many.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say so many brewers are sustainability is so important to them. I think they'd really get behind the idea.
It has been a recurring theme here, looking at socially responsible breweries and socially irresponsible breweries.
Yes.
And trying to highlight that whenever it comes up. And in fact, you inspired me a little bit when you said you were going to be talking about this. I tried to find a bird-friendly coffee stout and came up with nothing.
No, I don't think it's happened yet.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
You don't know if your Haitian coffee there is bird-friendly. I don't even know where these coffee beans come from in this one, but I look forward to knowing that in the future.
Well, the company that we know makes it. It's called Birds and Bees Coffee.
Birds and Beans is
Birds and Beans. Excuse me.
Birds and Beans.
Yeah.
More clever than Birds and Bees.
Yeah,
you think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, beans are a whole other different issue.
Birds and Beans you can buy online, but now I heard there's a Wegmans now in Brooklyn, right?
There is, within walking distance of my undisclosed location.
I did not know that.
Yeah, they sell it,
and they do sell it. Yep.
Whole Foods / Amazon. I think you can get the early bird blend too. So it's coming, and the more people want it, the more popular it'll.
That's right. That's right. I think I have seen. We did get a bird friendly coffee at Whole Foods recently, didn't we? Cider Girl, she's not answering.
Sometimes
I hope you're Cider Girl.
Cider Girl is here, by the way.
All right.
in the room. Should I have her come on?
She's not an official guest, but she's nearby. Yes.
She's nearby.
Yeah.
Consult her. But yeah,
But no-
that's a really I know that KCBC, our friends over at KCBC, they're very much into birds and bird conservation. So that would be a great place to. They should do something like that, a bird friendly, and I think they would be very.
Well, and
open.
they do
Yeah.
they do a fundraising because one of their folks is birders. They do they do a beer that they use as fundraising for the NYC Audubon every year. I've actually been to some talks in their back room that have been really fun, which is great. So yeah, KCBC, if you're listening, if you want to get hooked up, check in with Cider Girl, or excuse me, Belgian Blonde. I'm sure she will get you all set with our Birds and Beans friends.
Yeah, what
Absolutely.
their beer was called First Flight or something. The bird one. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, BB.
No, anybody that wants to like a big brewing that's already established like that, the Smithsonian Migratory Bird Center has a bird friendly coffee website, and they'll tell you the people in the city, no matter where in the country you are, who's giving, like, where you can get roasted bird friendly beans and where you can get the coffee and things. So even at the big distribution level, it's accessible now.
Excellent.
Yeah, and like you said, it's about demand. If people want to have it, it will get done because consumer is king.
It's true.
And the more people that want to get more environmentally friendly goods, the more there's going to be. Yeah,
certainly.
Very true.
So now,
sorry, go ahead.
Did you have more to say on that?
No,
I wasn't trying to. Okay, enough of that. No, that's not what I was saying.
That's what I was saying.
No, I was just going to ask. So Belgian Blonde, when did you come to New York?
Oh yes, important.
I actually grew up in the suburbs of New York. My dad commuted to the city, and I lived here all my life until I went to college in Colorado.
Okay.
And then I moved back from Colorado. Well, I was on the 5-year plan so I moved back then.
Some of us were on the 2-year plan, meaning we never finished.
Or one.
A one for you. Oh, very over in your underachieving there.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, my professor had to have a talk. My professor had to have a talk with my mother and said if she takes every Tuesday, Thursday off to go skiing for the rest of her college career, she's never going to graduate. So
that's fair.
Wow.
Otherwise, why are you going to college in Colorado?
Exactly.
I mean, yes, beer and skiing. That's what we do in Colorado, right?
Yeah.
Well,
and
weed
and science.
Well, there's no better place to get beer. At the ski resorts appreciate good beer. I mean, they're always pouring some great stuff in Vermont and Colorado and all those places. So.
Oh yeah, and you have a Vermont connection as well, right? Historically,
I do, and actually, my next pour is from Hill Farmstead. But my grandmother used to live in Hanover, New Hampshire. But she lived to be 97. She outlived 3 husbands. And the third had an incredible house on Caspian Lake in Greensboro, which is not far from Hill Farmstead. So really excited to go back there this summer and go to the brewery. So that's drive through pickup only.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we had a nice Beer Ventures meeting over the summer with a bunch of the Hill Farmstead farmhouse beers, which were just delightful.
Oh, they are so good. That is very true.
They're awesome.
These
and I'm a sour person. Yeah. And I love sours, and they're, the limoncello, which I'm about to pour, totally falls into that category. It's delicious.
Preview.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I am curious. Do you remember when you started hanging out with the Beer Vengers? When you became a Beer Venger?
That was probably.
I think I remember.
Yeah, the Beer Vengers as an official group of beer tasting, I think that was, I don't know, 5 years ago. We started working together in 2013 and started hanging out and drinking beer.
Yeah.
But we became an official beer tasting group. I'm not as certain on that.
Well,
Okay.
I remember a night.
Some of our early calls, but yeah, go ahead.
I remember a night that we were at the On Tap bar at the Whole Foods at Columbus Circle.
Oh,
Don't look for it. It's not there anymore.
It's gone. Anymore. Yeah, it's now delivery for our friends at Amazon.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Folks, if you don't know, that was our place.
Mm-hmm.
They had great beers on tap. and they had a happy hour that was so great. But the
Yes.
staff and the management, they had no idea what they had there. So
Yeah.
they were selling, like, you could get a delirium tremens on happy hour for like $4, like a
Yeah, it was awesome.
16-ounce pour, and it was just like, what? You know, so we
I
were
think
going there a lot,
I think I had my
Didn't-
first Bourbon County Stout there.
and we did trivia with the Belgian.
Yeah, we won.
and we
We
won.
won trivia.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
That I
Yeah,
feel like was the night that
and
solidified
our
it.
official team name was the Beer Vengers, so that
Right.
would definitely be called
Oh, was it?
yeah, it was that's right,
Okay.
because it was Beer Wonder was not there.
I was not there. No, I've heard
rest
tell
of
of
us
this.
And the Belgian Babe was there.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was we put all our beer put all our superpowers together and won the night in trivia.
Talk about origin stories. Full circle.
And to
Solid
come
one.
even a little more full circle, one of the last things when we were all allowed to go out and hang out and spend time together
Oh.
was at where Hophead Huck worked, the
Mhm.
Arts and Crafts Bar.
Yeah,
and we
Arts
didn't
and
win.
Crafts
Oh, yeah.
Beer Parlor.
Did we get like second or third place? I can't remember. We came very close to winning.
We
that.
received a book.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
recall.
And that was a prize because we
Third
played.
place?
That was my fault. We lost. I'm sorry, guys.
It was not your fault.
No.
I answered
No.
any questions that night. They didn't have a science category.
I know.
Yeah, we had the one thing where is it DNA, is it RNA? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes, and that's
oh.
actually another first for us. Belgian Blonde is our first guest who isn't in the entertainment industry.
That's true.
Yeah, it's true. I do.
Because-
I do talk to a lot of people in my job, but I'm not in the entertainment industry.
Yes, I think the first time I saw you was on stage, but it was as a scientist.
It's true. It's true.
It was a presentation of some sort at the Crane Theater.
I think it was about bird-friendly coffee.
It was about bird-friendly coffee. Yeah.
See, it all comes back together, and it all connects. Just weaving a tale of birds and coffee and joy, and beer.
And beer.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
are we talking about it? Are we looking at a 2-pour night here?
I think we well might be. Yeah, I mean, honestly, even though I'm not going to drink this whole growler, I may want to switch to another one as well.
Oh,
but
well, you have a double beer there, so
it sounds like you're ready to add a second beer.
Well, here we need to be kind to our guests, and I know our
All
guest
right.
is ready to go. And also, let's just acknowledge that
Thanks, Beer Wonder.
Thank you. Don't disclose my secret identity, Susan or Jennifer or Timothy, whoever you may be.
Wide.
Yes. But I want to just preface this one by saying that like Hill Farmstead is kind of they're kind of a big deal brewery. Like they were named one of
They
the best in the world, and so
Yeah.
They're the Ron Burgundy of breweries.
exactly. So it's kind of fun
Kind of
that
a big deal.
that we get to highlight a little bit of their goodness, on this
Yeah.
podcast.
Absolutely. And I've been so excited. It's been having these in my fridge has been torture. I just want to open it.
Well, see you and at important meetings like the Beer Vengers meetings. It's a good time to open important beers.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. I have to be with people that appreciate them.
Exactly. So
All right.
are we going to do a second pour?
do
All
it.
right,
I'm gonna.
yeah. Are you ready, or is your glass? Are you still working on the other one? Or we can let go first if you're.
No,
No,
I'm ready. I'm
Belgian
ready.
Blonde
Oh,
is
well,
ready.
very good. There we go.
Yeah.
Belgian Blonde it is.
All
Okay.
right.
Second pour, very exciting. Now remind us, this is the Hill Farmstead Limoncello.
This is Limoncello. I believe they created this for their anniversary.
Mhm.
Yes, it's their 10th anniversary. It's a sour mash double IPA. And yeah, it's delicious.
Delightful. All right, let's see this pour. Oh, I can already see it's foaming out of the bottle. It's beautiful. I'm very excited about this. Bring it up a little bit higher so we can see that pour.
Oh wow.
Okay, now when you say like blonde, this has got that gold straw color. Nice carbonation. Good bubbles on the top there. Really
Oh.
beautiful gold color that I just like. You can't see through it. Can't see through it. Can't see through it all.
That's pretty.
That is gorgeous. Yeah. Well, I've been excited to do this one. This is from Schilling Brewing. It's called the Landbier Dunkel.
Ooh.
And it was a cool
Dark
story
lager.
because I was able to. I saw on their Instagram that they were making this. Now these guys are way up north in New Hampshire. They're actually
Mhm.
fairly close to Burlington, Vermont, Littleton, New Hampshire.
Oh wow.
And
Okay.
they are just a top-notch lager house. Like they are making great American lagers, right up there with anyone that's making lagers. They're really fantastic. And so I said on their Instagram, I said, will any of these come to New York, please? And this Serene Craft Brewing, shout out to Serene, their craft distribution. They were like,
Okay.
we'll see. We'll put them in a couple of special bottle shops. And they did. They put it at Good Beer down in the East Village.
I love that place.
Great place.
Yeah.
And my driver, she took me down and was able to get me down there for a beautiful dunkel. And I got a couple other beers while I was
That's a
down there.
lovely dark brown.
Oh my gosh. See, look at that. It's
This
just
is
so
a-
perfect.
It's a real captain style beer, yeah. It's
Oh, yeah.
got that nice dark color. I can't see through it. It has a bit of transparency, but more of a translucence than transparency. Cheers. Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. All right. Well, I'm gonna save the rest of that growler for later in
goodness.
favor of this. This is one that I have that I've been wanting to put on here for a while.
Mhm.
I did buy it at Astoria Beer and Cheese, although they don't have it anymore. Partly because of me, because every time I was in there, I was grabbing a couple more of them. Do you guys know Stillwater?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
Stillwater. It's interesting. They're a contract brewer.
Mhm.
I think this one was maybe brewed in Maryland. It's because every one of them seems to say it's a collaboration of some sort.
Right.
This was a collaboration with Casita Cerveceria, and it is the On Fleek.
Ooh, and look at that can art right there. It's psychedelic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gorgeous.
And this is a 13% imperial stout.
Whoo, bless it.
Wow.
With this is weird. It says dark sugars. I don't know how that differentiates it from other brown sugars, but it just says dark sugars and molasses.
Well, the molasses is about as dark sugar as you get. So
Yeah, nothing darker than
we
that.
are.
let's take a look. This is going to be.
Oh my gosh.
Oh wow.
Dark sugar, that's no question. That is dark. That, and it's also
Yeah.
it's pouring slow, so it must be a thicker liquid too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's pouring like motor oil out of the can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's thick with a very subtle head. And so
Yeah,
there it
just
is.
the tiniest
Yeah,
head.
but
Oh, that's
real
gonna be
chocolatey head on it there. Yeah.
Right. There it is.
Real caramelized brown foam there. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Mhm. And what's the nose on that like, Captain?
It's exactly what I mean. It definitely the sweetness is really there. Oh yeah, it's sweet, but not cloyingly so. I mean, those sugars are there, but the stout like grounds it. It's leaving me somewhat speechless. But yeah, it's
Hey,
very
well,
good.
that means it's a good beer then. So,
You know, it's funny. Someone recently suggested that maybe we start to reflect at the end of not tonight, but maybe sometime near the end of the year, reflect on our year in beer. And I was looking up some things, and it's funny. The first time I mentioned Stillwater on this show was because they'd regularly been having Big Bunny on tap at Astoria Beer and Cheese, but I inadvertently referred to them as Sweetwater. Which is a totally different brewery.
Different brewery out of
very
Georgia.
true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Out of Georgia.
Very
They're
different.
very good. I didn't, and I was even more embarrassed about that when I realized I owned a little bit of stock in them. So I wasn't trying to put that something, my own personal interest, but I thought for full disclosure, I should say that.
Well,
so there is
if it's a
Sweetwater.
Georgia thing, as senators, that's a normal thing to have insider trading. So
And when I was looking
Wow.
back, when I was looking back even more on my year, there was one I had a couple months ago from Swiftwater.
that's another one. Yeah.
And so it's but this one is Stillwater, and it's and to correct myself even more from my earlier mistake, this is probably my favorite of the three. But
Nice.
So that as a challenge to the other waters, so they will
Step
have
it up.
something.
You got Stillwater.
And to give a little bit of a shout out to our sponsor a bit, as I said, I was drinking Big Bunny, and they had this there, and they don't have this any there, but they right now have Big Bunny in cans.
Oh, nice.
okay.
I would recommend that if you're on Ditmars Boulevard in Astoria.
So we've got Stillwater.
This is Stillwater.
Swiftwater.
Yeah.
What's the other one in Georgia? That's the
That's Sweetwater.
Sweetwater. We got Stillwater, Swiftwater, Sweetwater, and up in Vermont we have Goodwater. That's one of our.
That's right.
Yep.
beers that we have one last week from Goodwater.
Exactly.
It's
Yep.
a
they
New
were delightful.
England take on the
Are
name.
there any other waters? That covers the 4 waters.
Just all kinds of water everywhere.
Yes.
I got to tell you, this is probably the best Dunkel I've ever had.
I mean, it looked beautiful, and
They
that's
call it a rustic dark lager,
hmm
and it's only 4.7%, but it's packed with flavor. It's just roasty. It's like very roasty and toasty. It's just delightful.
Yeah, I love this limoncello, and you had it, Michael,
Yes.
too. And it's just delicious. And it said double IPA, and I thought it would taste a lot different, but it really does taste like a sour, and that lemon flavor is so forward. And I love sours, so I was really excited. I wish I had more of them.
I should explore sours more.
I mean, mine has got a little bit of the touch of that sour, but they're such a unique thing. I find them to be a very divisive beer. Like people either love it or hate it.
Because
sours in general?
you like your Berliner Weiss, but we discussed in an earlier episode that you're not a fan of sours.
I'm not, no, but you know, the sour beer really puts people into places because sometimes sours get really funky. Like they taste like a cow rolled in it, and that's when I start to get questions about the beer.
Were like cilantro. Like I didn't really care for them, and then all of a sudden I craved it and I loved it. And I really like the Hudson Valley sours as well.
Oh yeah.
Well,
great.
If you're gonna do, there was a night of beer venging where I attempted sours and it was just unpleasant. But
it was a Grimm, right?
It was a Grimm, yes, who are known for their sours, and I've been consistently impressed by their beers, but just could not get through their sours simply because I think it's a personal preference. That said, people out there love their sours and like go for it, but not my jams.
Well,
what's that other beer that's sort of in the sour wheelhouse?
You think it's saisons?
No, I'm not thinking saison.
Farmhouses.
Well, the sour ale, we have just a general sour ale. Then we have gozas, which are made with
gozas.
Gozas. And I do love a goza. I will say I do love a goza.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I will say one of the reasons I don't try that many sours is because I sometimes have a bit of a prejudice against low ABV beers.
Right, like this one.
If I have a good one, I like it very much. Well, I mean, and the stout I had earlier before this 13%er was a 5%er.
Yeah,
but
you would like that.
Generally, where I draw the line. But not only that, sours take so much work.
That's true.
They're often a lot more expensive than the other beers.
Yes.
So I'm looking at that like, geez, do I want to pay $11 for a 3.8%er?
Right.
Well, this one's
it better be good.
Yeah.
This one's 8%, Captain. So
very good.
I have the lowest beer of the night, I think, at 4.9%, and it's good. It's very good, but you know.
No, this is 4.7. So
4.7. All right. Hophead Huck's got me beat.
I would definitely love to try that limoncello Belgian blonde.
Just like that 1 year I spent in college. I have to be the lowest.
So but it was 1 full year, because I will admit when I said I did 2, I was rounding up.
It was technically a full year, yes.
Okay.
Well, I told Hophead we were talking about we should take a Beer Avengers field trip to go up to Greensboro or one of those areas and try all these amazing
and Colorado and
and
we can all see each other and touch each other and be in places together again.
Yeah.
That all sounds wonderful.
I don't know if you guys know about a brewery called Catskill Brewing.
I have heard of them.
They have overnights in cute cabins where you can get like 6 people to stay over. We were looking at it. They're in Livingston Manor, New York.
What?
Yeah.
Which is in the Catskills, and they have a couple of different chalets or cottages that you can stay in overnight right next to the brewery.
Amazing.
And enjoy the Catskills as well as enjoying the brewery. So yeah, that's something to look into. We started to look at it. I don't know if we looked at prices, but they have these houses you can house like 6 people for a weekend, that kind of thing.
We should definitely do that.
Oh yes,
we'll all
Beer
take
Avengers
rooms. It'll be great.
Important meetings of the Beer Avengers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, is there anything anyone wants to talk about with regard to their weeks in beer?
Well, I wanted to throw something out because we're getting into the holiday season, right? And
Yeah.
now is a time when we want to celebrate. And one of my big connections with my father has been through beer, and so I've been looking into beer gifts for people. And one of the things I wanted to just sort of throw out there is our friends at the New York City Brewers Guild are doing holiday boxes where you can get specially curated boxes of different New York City beers sent to one of your loved ones. And so if you are looking for a beer gift, nycbrewed.com has got a really cool selection of different beers that you can send to the beer fan in your life.
Oh,
Now, will they ship anywhere?
And I don't know how far they're shipping. I definitely know that they're shipping in New York City. I wound up getting my father something a little bit more local to him. But
Okay.
it's got a lot of our favorites there, that are part of the guild. And so if you are in, our fair city or Connecticut or New Jersey, sort of in our local area, check that out if you want to send someone some beer to celebrate the holidays.
What a great idea.
Neato.
And speaking of sending some love to some of our friends, well, couple of things. First of all, I don't know if you guys saw, but the new Alewife brewery and tap room just opened about a week ago.
Yeah, where's that located?
Yeah, where is that? Remind us.
It is. I'm so glad I wrote this down. Now that you're right. It's at 4111 39th Street in Sunnyside.
Oh,
Nice.
Sunnyside. Okay, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, and they've got some of their outdoor seating stuff going on there, which is being a little disrupted this week because apparently the Con Edison has some work they have to do there, which meant they had to tear up all the street where they had the outdoor seating set up. But they expect to be back with that. I'm sure they're doing good takeout business there as well. But yeah, right now it's primarily, I don't know if they're planning on staying with this even post pandemic, but right now they are takeout and they're a tap room. And I think if you're doing one of the outdoor seating, they have Sigmund's pretzels as well.
Oh, those are good stuff.
Yummy.
And which a lot of breweries do. A lot of tap rooms will have that. But in addition to that, I know they're talking to food trucks in the area to be stationed there, and they had some wonderful pictures on their Instagram about some local food trucks that were there where you could use if you're hungry for a little more than a pretzel.
Very good.
And the other one is about our friends at Curtain Up.
Yeah.
That we talked about a lot, which they've been giving us a lot of attention on our social medias as well. And also, I'm we're very supportive of this project. This is the project we talked about before. That is a beer to benefit the performing arts.
Mm-hmm.
About going out to breweries everywhere. Well, the news I have here is that Gun Hill just debuted their version of it this week.
Oh, cheers!
It's Gun Hill's recipe, and theirs is available now. I'm not sure exact. It's definitely available from the brewery. Hopefully, if pressure your local businesses to carry it because it's really helpful. It's not 100%, but I know that a lot of money is going. On Gun Hill, I think it said that the proceeds were going to Actors Fund and another local charity to be named.
Now, did Gun Hill started the Curtain Up? Is that right?
Gun Hill started it in collaboration with the Happy Hour guys, or they do a web series video web series where they go to breweries and bars and that sort of a thing. And there's a couple Broadway guys. Before that, they collaborated with Gun Hill. They'd done a Hamilton themed beer called the Spirit of 76.
Yes.
And they were working with a whole series of Broadway themes, so it was just a natural fit that they jump into that thing.
That gets overlooked, that Hamilton beer. I mean, that was a huge show, and Gun Hill actually collaborated with the show to make a beer. That's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Because Hamilton, everybody knows Hamilton, but nobody knows about the Gun Hill beer. I mean, we do in New York, maybe, but around the country.
I don't know. I don't honestly don't know how much outside of New York City people have Gun Hill.
Oh no, not too much.
But as we mentioned before, to catch you up a little bit, Belgian Blonde, what they did was they made this recipe for this IPA, this hazy IPA, available to other breweries. Anyone who wants to make this beer anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world, really. this is it's not the first time something like this has been done. The most notable one was Black is Beautiful.
Mhm.
But they basically said any brewery that wants to do this, use our recipe. You can tweak it, you can tinker with it, you can make your own version of it, but use this as the base recipe. Use this label, and donate the proceeds of it to your local performing arts organizations.
Oh,
That
that's
is
fantastic.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And how involved was Hamilton with, like, who was involved from?
Well, the Hamilton wasn't involved specifically in this
Okay.
one. It's just that the people, the guys who the happy hour guys, they're Broadway actors.
Oh, okay.
And so they're the ones who got Gun Hill on board with the Hamilton beer in the first place. I think it was either they brought the idea or they cross promoted it or something like that. And so they're sort of leading the charge with this one as well.
But
Yeah, the Broadway Brood project, I think, is what they call it, right? Because I know that a couple others have done some like Broadway collaborations, which is very cool.
Very
Yes, that's what they were calling that series
Yeah,
of beers. Yeah, I think. Oh, I think the deal was that they were just getting started on that series of beers.
Right.
When Broadway shut down, so they sort of channeled all their resources were from the series of beers they were going to make into Curtain Up.
oh, okay, yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
yeah.
And for those of you who listened to this episode before, we're sorry if you're getting too much information again, but it bears repeating.
Oh,
But I
yeah,
think-
so many people just shut it off just now. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
they
I
did.
think
Like,
this time of
we've
year-
heard about this already. When you get it, you're actors, you're special.
Sorry, let's
And
let the Belgian blonde speak. Yes, please.
I was just gonna say, I think this time of year people are really looking for things like that. What Ethan was talking about,
Mhm.
gifts that support local businesses, and in this case, that are supporting, local theater. I think that's so important to get the message out there that they can get something they really like we all love beer, and also help support people that are hurting right now. I think that's great.
Yeah.
And I did want to follow up. I did discover that they are shipping out of state. It's a specific number of states, so check out nycbrew.com if you want to get some New York City beer sent to your near and dear.
Yeah, neat.
Nice.
I look forward to looking that up.
That's what I noticed with the shipping craze. No, it's not a craze, but a lot of breweries are shipping now. Any like of these, like I see, like for example, Foam Brewing in Vermont. They're like, we'll ship to Virginia, we'll ship to DC, we'll ship to New York. No, not New York. Like there's no one ships to New York. Only New
Same
York
thing with
New York.
The same thing with the brewery. I mean, I know they're in Placentia, California. They're a great brewery. I didn't realize that they had an operation in DC.
Oh, okay.
They're both in California and DC, but I know the DC won't ship to New York.
Yeah, they won't ship
Yeah.
to New York. It's like we've been talking about this at our job about prohibition, and
Yep.
since prohibition, there's so many rules on the books about alcohol, and it's so hard to get those rules changed. And shipping across state lines is just such a racket. But
Which makes it even that much more incredible how much within New York, how many of those restrictions they lifted, so local breweries could do all of this.
yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
you can get Hudson Valley shipped
Mhm.
to your home. You can get a lot of these local, Grimm, Other Half, Finback,
Gun
all
Hill.
these ones will.
Yeah.
Gun Hill is one that also
Yeah, Gun Hill ships. Yeah.
they'll ship to your
Yeah,
home.
and the only negative about any of this is that I feel like I'm starting to see less of those ones at some of my bottle shops because they're doing so much business shipping. I'm like,
Yeah,
well, I guess if I want to get Gun Hill's, they have a really great looking new one, new stout, Puerto Rican stout. You saw
yeah,
that?
I saw that. Yeah,
So good. It's based on a Puerto Rican cocktail, and I
Oh.
can't think of the name
yeah,
of it
there's
right
a lot
now.
of coconut in it.
But
Yeah,
it looks amazing. Was that the first one you were
Coquito?
talking about?
talk
Is it
amongst
Coquito?
yourselves. I'll find it.
He'll find it. Yeah. So like, I'm not sure if like, do I wait for a story of beer and cheese to get those, or do I have to like, because there's like a $40 minimum, which is it doesn't take long to get there. You get 3-4 packs, and you're basically there.
And they have
it's
a
not
wide
hard-
variety of styles too up at Gun.
They do. But there's another one. Big Alice has one I'm dying to try, called the Bodega Breakfast Stout.
Mm.
I keep seeing pictures of that. It's like, okay, the next day it's a little warm. I'm going to get on a bike and go to Big Alice and bring home some of that.
Yeah, it's called the Puerto Rican Noggin Coquito Stout.
Oh,
It's got a
see,
beautiful
Belgian
label.
blonde
Yeah, you
knows
got it
things.
exactly right, Belgian blonde.
The thick, creamy, chocolatey, dark roast coffee notes at the forefront that meld into a complex, coconutty, sweet.
Whoa!
I mean, you're making me want to walk
Mm.
I'm
across the
sold.
Triborough Bridge right now. Yeah.
Sounds like dessert. Sounds
Yeah,
delicious.
I'm ready.
Finished with an aromas of vanilla, cinnamon, and a dash of rum.
Oh,
And it's what's the ABV on that? I'm not finding it.
I think the answer is a lot. Probably. I'm going to guess 8.7. Doesn't say, does it?
It's weird on the gram. It doesn't say. Yeah, it might be on the can, but hey, you know what? It's going to be great either way. They make great.
Oh, I also did remember another correction I wanted to make from last week. I mean, I definitely made it clear the cold
just
open.
put it in the intro. The cold open.
Yeah.
There's that one. Yeah, the one I did. Oh, but I do want to say this again because
Please.
last week we were talking about holiday beers.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned the Sour Monkey, forgetting that Tripelman had it the week before.
Yes.
And I realized that was the reason it was in my brain and why I said the wrong thing. I wasn't talking about the Sour Monkey. I meant to say the Merry Monkey.
Oh, what's the Merry Monkey?
Oh, what's the Merry Monkey?
The
Yeah,
Merry
I don't know that
Monkey
one.
is sort of the holiday version of the Sour Monkey
Oh,
with cranberries.
Oh.
By Victory.
Yes, it's a Victory's version of Victory's winter thing is the Merry Monkey.
I had not heard of that till now.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay.
So you see, I shouldn't have waited till the cold open. Well, you would have heard it anyway. You're one of our. When I look at our downloads, I'm like, how many of this is us? But I'm glad we're doing it. It's I'm glad all the people out there are doing it, and I'm grateful for all of our listeners. And once again, if you have any questions, any feedback, any things you want to see in a future show, by all means, feel free to reach out to us on social media at the Beer Vengers, and you can reach us at Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. Beer Wonder, did you get the thing I sent you about the blog?
I did. We'll work that out in just a bit. So
okay,
we're still at our yes, but we're still at our old location for the moment, and that old location is
the old location is beervengersblog.wordpress.com. That is for your most comprehensive list of all things Beer Vengers. All of our pour picks. You can stream all of the episodes, and it has even our old blog post from 2014 on.
Oh yeah, the classic.
And Belgian Blonde, did you have any other things about your weekend beer aside from your trip to Connecticut and picking up that wonderful beer you brought us tonight?
No, I've been enjoying the transition into winter these past few days and thinking about good winter beers that to pair with food. I've been drinking a lot of stouts and things like that, so it's been really nice.
Did everyone enjoy the snow today? Or did everyone see it?
I saw it.
I did briefly see it. I opened my window and got a little bit of it in my apartment, but I did not go out and...
It's funny, I had my curtains closed when it started because I was doing a workout and watching a TV show, so I wanted the sun to be gone. And then as soon as I finished, I opened the curtains, and there's the snow that didn't register at all on the ground. But so we got our first snow in New York.
Yeah, we saw it. We saw it accumulate on a couple of windshields outside. Yeah.
I'm ready for a full blanket of snow. If it's going to be cold,
me too.
I'd rather be snowing.
Commit to the bit.
Absolutely.
We're stuck inside anyway, so we might as well have a nice snowfall outside. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to. Yeah, we don't get enough of that, and yeah.
There you go.
Belgian Blonde, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh,
thank you so much for having me. It was so much fun. Thank you.
Fun for us as well. Please come back anytime.
Absolutely.
And I see that Huck is clutching the old uke there, which means we're just about ready to wrap up. And thank all of you for listening. And come back next week. And
do we have anything planned for next week?
I think we're going to drink some beer.
Let's leave it there. Yeah, it's going to be a great show.
And I think we're going to have a guest.
Another Beer Avenger.
We will have a yes.
That's often how that works.
We'll eventually start having Beer Vengers to be, but for now we're going to continue with our guest Beer Vengers, and I'll explain the distinction in a future episode. So something for you to hold out for. But until then, Huck, why don't you play us out?
Thanks, everybody. Great show. Thanks. All right, here we go. Well, we're the beer Bengers, beer Bengers, beer Bengers.
We're the Beer Avengers.